Something happened around fire, something that changed what humans were capable of. It did not happen overnight. It happened slowly, over hundreds of thousands of years. But the campfire was where it began. The effects are still running in your brain tonight. Here is what nobody tells you about fire. Fire did not just cook food. It extended the day. For 2 million years, humans slept when darkness came. There was no other option. Then, fire arrived, and the darkness became somewhere you could stay. The average hunter-gatherer day was roughly 12 hours of light. Fire added hours to the end of that. Hours with no predators, no food to find, no territory to defend. Just the group, the warmth, the light, and a completely new question that no animal before had ever had the luxury to ask. What do we talk about? In 2014, anthropologist Polly Wiesner published a landmark study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. She spent years recording conversations among the Jew Hwansi Bushmen of Botswana, a community whose way of life offers a window into how ancient hunter-gatherers lived. She recorded what people talked about during the day. Then she recorded what they talked about around the fire at night. The difference was extraordinary. During the day, economic matters, food, resources, plans, disputes, practical, urgent, transactional. Around the fire at night, stories. Specifically, stories about people who were not there, about events in distant places, about what happened years ago, about how someone had behaved, what they had done, what they deserved. Wiesner found that firelight talk accounted for around 80% of the storytelling content of the entire group's social life. The fire was not just warmth. The fire was the context in which humans first learned to talk about people who were not in the room. And that is a far stranger capability than it sounds. Subscribe if you have ever sat around a fire and felt something shift. Something quieter. Something different from every other moment of the day. To talk about someone who is not present requires a specific kind of mental operation. Psychologists call it theory of mind. The ability to model another person's internal state. To represent what someone else believes, wants, fears. To hold a mental model of a mind that is not your own. This is not a small thing. It is one of the most cognitively sophisticated operations the brain performs. The campfire, Wiesner's research suggests, may have been the social training ground where it developed. Night after night, story after story, year after year. The group gathered and practiced imagining the minds of the absent. Gossiping, speculating, judging, and feeling. All of it requiring the brain to hold and manipulate complex social models. Robin Dunbar at the University of Oxford has argued that the human neocortex expanded because of the demand of managing increasingly complex social relationships. More relationships means more complexity. Bigger brain required to track it all. The campfire created a new social environment, an environment where the group stayed together longer than before, where information was shared more widely, where alliances were built, reputations were made, and social knowledge accumulated. Dunbar's research suggests that around 65% of all human conversation is social information. Who did what? Who is trustworthy? Who broke a rule? What happened between those two people? We have a name for this and we give it a negative one. We call it gossip. But gossip, in the context of the campfire, was the social glue of the group. It was the mechanism by which information about who to trust was shared and updated. The campfire was the original social network. Now here is the part that changes how you see the fire. Psychologist Matt Rossano at Southeastern Louisiana University proposed something even more striking. He suggested that the campfire produced the earliest altered states of human consciousness, not through substances, through fire itself. Staring at a flame for an extended period activates a meditative state. The regions of the brain that activate during meditation overlap extensively with the regions governing working memory. Working memory is foundational to planning, to imagination, to the construction of complex ideas. Rossano proposed that the campfire meditative state gave ancient humans their first extended access to this elevated cognitive mode. The ability to think through complex contingencies, to plan ahead, to imagine alternatives, to construct what-if scenarios. To do, in other words, the kind of thinking that separates human cognition from everything else that has ever existed. And he proposed that this may have occurred in a recognizably modern form around 100,000 years ago. Not in a laboratory, not by design, around a fire in the dark, because someone had to stay up to tend it. And while they stayed up, they stared at the light, and something opened in the brain that had not been opened before. Think about what the campfire context produced simultaneously. It produced safety. The fire kept predators at a distance. It produced warmth. The body relaxed in ways the exposed cold darkness never allowed. It produced extended social contact. The group stayed together past the point where survival required it. It produced storytelling. The brain practiced modeling absent minds. It produced a meditative state. Working memory was elevated. All of this in the same place, at the same time, night after night after night, for hundreds of thousands of years. The human brain that emerged from this process is not the brain that entered it. The neocortex expanded. Language became more sophisticated. Theory of mind became more precise. Planning horizons extended. The capacity for abstract thought grew, not because of any single mutation, because of hundreds of thousands of nights of practice. The campfire was a cognitive gymnasium, and the exercises were stories, gossip, firelight, warmth, and the specific quality of attention that comes from staring at something that moves but never goes anywhere. Here is what survives of all of this. You still gather around fire when you can. Not for warmth, not for cooking, not for protection, for the feeling. The conversations that happen around fire are different from conversations in any other context. More honest, more reflective, slower. The stories come out that would not come out in a bright room. The things said that could not be said over a screen. Research consistently finds that firelight produces measurable changes in heart rate, blood pressure, and social openness. The relaxation response activates. The defensive posture drops. The same effect Rossano described. Your brain still knows what fire means. It means the predators are held at bay. It means we survived today. It means now we can stay up and talk about everything that matters. Drop a comment. What is the best conversation you have ever had around a fire? I want to know. Like, share, subscribe. Your brain was shaped by 100,000 campfires. Light one and see what happens.